Hello and welcome to the third video here in this series that I'm doing. Basically, we've gone through Protoss, we've gone through Zerg, now we're on to Terran. Let's see what Terran can do here, a few little micro tricks they can do to sort of increase their army's viability and, you know, win encounters when you just attack move, you just lose them. So here, we'll start out really simple with Baneling usage because let's face it, Banelings are just such a hit or miss unit. They either win you the fight or lose it for you. So how to deal with them. So first of all, we've got 10 Banes against 20 Marines. The Marines are all balled up. We're just going to do an attack move. Let's watch what happens here. Oh my goodness, Baneling's going to come through. I mean, you can all guess what happens here. Baneling's getting there and beautiful. There we go. So all the Marines die. Pretty one-sided as you can see. So how can we stop that in that exact situation? Let's go on to that now. Okay, so now we've got the exact same armies, 10 Banes, 20 Marines, and we've spread the Marines out simply. This is before the fight. You can do this so easily. Just grab a few Marines and move them away from the big pack. And let's see these Banelings' effectiveness now. Basically, they're going to move in here, obviously. They're on an attack move. Marines are in hold position to hold their sort of, you know, formation. And look at that. Banelings kill about half. Let's see how many left. We do have 10 left, so they do kill exactly half those Marines. And all of a sudden, you simply pre-spreading halves those Banelings' effectiveness. Simple. So here we're going to tech up a little bit. Basically now we've got Marine Marauder, we've got the 3 upgrades done, that's Stim, Combat Shield, and Concussive Shell. We have Banelings, we have Lings, and we're on attack move right now. Let's see what happens when you simply attack move with the Banes and the Lings. Look at this. They just crashed through. Look at all the Marines are pretty much dead at this point. Banelings still going through it, and look at this. Zerg just absolutely rolled that. That's not even close. Still has Banes left, okay? So, as a Terran player, what can you do to stop that? Like, is there anything simple you can do to really cut down the Zerg effectiveness? Yes, there is. Okay, now all we've done here is we've set up a few units at the front. We've set up the Marauders to take the damage. They have a lot more health. They take a lot less from the Banelings. And we'll keep our squishy Marines at the back. Marines, obviously, the damage dealers in this particular matchup. So let's unpause. Let's watch what happens here. Ling's just trying to sort of stay near the Banelings. They come in. Banelings are all on attack move. Obviously, some better players might not do this. But look at this. Simply having the Marauders at the front there with very little micro will mean that you have exactly 11 Marines left, as opposed to last time when it was about 12 Lings and 2 Banelings. That is such a big difference for such a small little shuffle around of units, really. Okay, so now we're going to be adding in a little bit of micro to this, okay? This is going to be something that some advanced players can do. This is kind of like decent high-level stuff. If you can do this and macro at the same time, great. If you can't macro while doing this, this is not worth doing. I'm telling you right now. Doing other things as well as this and multitasking is a million times more important. Otherwise, simply having your units in the correct positions will be better in the long run. Trust me. But we're going to watch what happens here. He's stimming. He's getting some nice damage there. Just look at this stop-start shooting. Not letting the Lings surround. The Lings are on attack move. Some Zerg players will pull the Lings to the other side and stop you from running away, but that's okay. Not in this situation. Stim runs out. Just stims up again. It's okay. Banelings are getting there almost. Oh, he's going to get them all. Probably will. He's got concussive shells. Loses that front Marauder, and look at that. Okay, let's check what he's got this time. He has 2 Marauders and 13 Marines. So all he's done there by doing that is saved a further 2 Marines and 2 Marauders. Okay, you doing that means you end up with more units slightly, but it's not worth it if you can't micro at the same time. Simply setting your units up correctly so the Banes hit the wrong units is the best way to do this. Simply. Anyway, that's that. Okay, so now we're going to do some tank marine stuff. Basically, this is pretty standard as far as TVZ goes. You do end up with tank marine. Let's show how to really use this. A lot of players I see will use tank marine pretty damn poorly. So, let's see what you can do with it. So we do have a bunch of marines here, a bunch of tanks, and we've got a lot of Banelings and a lot of Lings over here. These how these are controlled. The Lings are on attack move, the Banes on a move command, okay? Just keep that in mind. Good Zerg players will do this. Otherwise, they'll just hit a tank, okay? So we're going to see what happens here with all clumped up units. So basically, the Lings are trying to engage at the same time. There we go. They are going and taking the first few shots, which is good. Banelings are coming in, and all of a sudden, oh, yeah. That gets rolled. Zerg wins that by quite a bit. In fact, use some Banelings at the end to kill tanks. Not efficient, but was still able to do that, okay? That really should have been the Terran's favor. He had the better army in that exact situation, yet by not controlling his units properly, he lost. Let's look at what he could have done. Okay, so now all we've done is we've pre-spread out the Marines. Simple, right? That is such an easy thing to do. We talked about it before. See how it works with tanks here. We do the exact same Zerg army. They're on pretty much the same command here. And let's see what happens. Banes are going to come in. They're going to be less efficient, obviously. And they're going to still kill stuff. It's pretty hard to be like, oh, I'm going to lose nothing. But do that. Suddenly, you've gone from losing the encounter to being alive with a tank and 11 Marines. That's a pretty decent win, because right now, the Zerg has no Banelings and is only just popping some Lings out. And if you're close to his base, you can just run in there and kill everything. Because let's face it, Lings by himself against this many Marines don't do that well. You do need Banelings, and they take a while to morph. Okay, so now we're going to be going into the really advanced stuff, okay? This is how you micro the situation. So you've pre-spread, you've got your 4 tanks set up like this, and you've got the exact same amount of Ling Baneling. Let's watch what happens here. Let's actually watch it on normal so we can exactly see what's going on. See how Rich has actually got the front row of Marines already selected? That's a good idea. Taking a few unnecessary shots there, that's okay though. Okay, stims, and wait for it. Okay, see how he's moving these front Marines back? That's smart. There are Banelings there. If he moves them all the way back, you can actually get out of range of those Banelings while the rest of the units do damage there. He's going to lose some stuff here. Let's keep watching. See how he micros. See, look at this. Grabs those 4 units and moves them out of the way of these Banelings. And look at this. Grabs those 5 units and moves them out of the way, and all of a sudden you won by even more. Look at that. 2 tanks, and you've got a good 8 Marines over what you had last time without micro. That is something you can work on. That's high level micro, okay? If you can do that, that's great, and you can see the advantage of it, but you can still win the battle by simply spreading out and setting up beforehand, okay? So we're showing you what you shouldn't do, what you should do, and what you can do once you have the APM for it. Okay, now we're going to talk about one control group syndrome. Basically, this is something that a lot of Terran players do, and they'll have all their Marines selected, and they'll just move them as bulk, okay? This is what you shouldn't do, okay? Stressing enough. We've got pretty much a small army here, and we have 10 mutalisks up here, which are going to be doing a bit of harassment. Let's see what they can do. They're going to come in here, and look, you really don't have any cover because you're just moving as one big group. And look, he's stim right there, and stimmed all of his units at once. That is terrible, terrible thing to do. Gets that tank, fair enough, that's awesome. Look at this, he's just moving around as a giant bulk. Keeping units compact like that, we've talked about that, but this is an even better situation because you are trying to stim and kill the mutas, or at least scare them off. Mutas here, getting in here, trying to get a bit of a shot, could have done more damage here actually. There we go, there's that damage that we're talking about. And look, still like moving as a group, trying to force stims. There's another stim. Kills a muta, sure, but look how much damage he's done to his own army so far. He's coming in, he's lost 2 tanks so far because his units are not spread out either. And look at that. I don't need to talk about this anymore. All of a sudden he's down on army, stimming as a group. So what can you do in this situation? Let's have a look. Okay, now we've got the exact same amount of units on both sides, 10 mutas, Marine tank, and all he's done now is spread out, okay? How he's going to control his units is just grabbing these blocks and using them to stim and chase the mutalisks off, okay? Mutalisks really don't want to be engaging Marines, and even if we can take a few out, it's very cost inefficient for us to really take on Marines unless we have to, okay? So keep that in mind. So right now, coming in, doing some nice stuff there. Stim's only a few units to chase them off. You do have to chase them off with Stim. That's fine. And when you have 4 tanks as well, it's really hard to stop them from getting killed. But you know what? Mutalisks are that good of harassment. Gets 1 tank. And you know what? Takes damage. That's the thing. He just got a tank, sure, but he's taking a lot of damage on these Mutalisks already, simply because there are Marines spread out everywhere. And look at the Marines. A lot of them are still on high amounts of health. And look at this as well from the Mutalist perspective, right? Still spreading them out, right? How are you supposed to harass this with so many Marines spread out like this? Every angle is countered by, he knows the Mutalists are on this side, so he's moving around here. All of a sudden he sees them move around, so he's reorganizing his Marines. It costs a lot of APM to do, but you can do this. And look at this, trying to get a shot off there and loses a Mutalist for effort here. This is pretty impenetrable, sorry. It's really hard to stop this push with Mutalisks. You do need a ground armor to do this. And this is the kind of stuff that will stop those Mutalist harassment from doing a lot of damage. You need to be doing this, spreading units out, and only stimming a few at a time. Learn to do that. Practice it. It's not easy. I'm not going to pretend it's easy, but you need to learn how to do it. So here, we're going to be trying something different now. We've got Protoss army here. We've got 3 Zealots, 4 Stalkers versus 4 Marines, 4 Marauders. These have full upgrades. These are pretty much stock standard, no charge or anything like that. It's kind of like simulating an early game thing. So we're going to see what happens when we simply attack move with both armies. Let's watch what happens here. Zealots get in there, they take a few slows, but they do get into melee range and they do a lot of damage, and also take damage for these Stalkers, which don't die that quickly. And look at this, the Zealots are still taking damage as the Stalkers sit back and pummel away, and look at that difference. 4 Stalkers alive at the end there. Even though the Terran had more units, those Zealots do a lot of damage, and you know, how can you deal with that? We're going to show you that next. Okay, so this time we're going to be using the Marauders and the Marines to kite the Zealots. All they're going to be doing is keeping the Zealots at range, moving back and shooting them using concussive shells properly. Once the Zealots are dead, they'll engage the Stalkers like they would attack move. So watch what happens here. We do have the unpause, and Zealots here get to melee range. They do get one shot in or something like that. That's okay, they're kiting backwards. Staying out of range of the Zealots, which deals so much damage. And you can already see here, they focus down the Stalkers now. Look at this. How much damage they're doing. This is just so different to last time. Even microing that back a little bit. Simple stuff to do. And look at that. Wins with a Marine and 2 Marauders left. That is such a massive difference to the last one we saw. So we're going to try something new here. So basically what we've got here is a pretty standard Protoss sort of ball of units as we've seen in the mid game. We've got a bunch of full Colossus, 6 Sentries, and then a mix of Zealots and Stalkers. Okay, Zealots have charge, and that's pretty much it. Over here we've got Marine, Marauder, Medivac, using your starports for Medivacs at this point because, you know what, why not? We did try it with a few different Terran comps, but it really didn't make that much of a difference as far as Vikings, that kind of stuff goes. So Marine, Marauder, Medivac versus this Protoss ball. Now, we'll talk in the next video, or next section, what we're going to actually talk about this for. So let's just watch this to start with. Let's see how the engagement goes. Stim does happen. Force fields do go down, split that army in half. This is just pretty standard force fields. I mean, if I can do these force fields, then any Protoss player can do these force fields, because I'm nothing amazing here. And look at this. The Protoss player is really just working straight through this army. Force fields going down here just to separate the units a bit, just to break it up even more. I think even less losses. And look at that. That's very one-sided. Look at that. The Protoss army just walks through there. They have, what, 7 Stalkers and the 4 Colossus still alive. Those supplies were dead even, I'll tell you that. And right now, the Protoss has 40 supply. That's like about half of what he started with. Okay? That's pretty massive. So let's try some different unit comps. Let's see what can actually take this out. Okay, so here we have the exact same Protoss army, and we're going to throw it up against a mech army. So what we've got here is Tank, Thor, Helion, and we've even thrown a Raven in here as well, because you know what, you're going to have a starport, you've got to use it for something, right? So, what was it, 8 tanks, 4 Thors, and something like 15 Helions, okay, just for reference. So we can see what lives and what dies at the end. And yeah, let's watch the engagement. It's just going to be an attack move from the Protoss. He's going to try and force field, but the Thors will break it. Let's watch what happens here. Zealots will charge in onto the Helions. As the siege tanks at the back just do a lot of damage, Helions just evaporate those Zealots there. And definitely coming forward, strike cannons going down on the Colossus, stunning them and killing them as well. Look at that. That was just a steamroll, seriously. Supply-wise, he's only lost 30. Compared to 80. It was 80 to start with. We've got 8 tanks still alive, all 4 Thors. Wow, that's a tongue twister, isn't it? And we've still got the Raven and point defense straight up as well. No Helion survived, but that's okay. So, there you go. I mean, mech really does really well against a Protoss ball, like a standard army. I mean, the tanks were sieged up. Let's watch it again, but without the tanks sieged up. Alright, so this time the Terran is unsieged. Let's face it, Protoss usually don't attack into a siege position like this, so pretend you're moving around the map or something, and they're going to engage as soon as the fight starts. Let's unpause, siege will happen very soon. Very delayed siege, that's okay. Bluefang will kill off all the Zealots pretty much pretty quickly. Point defense drone goes up and saves a bit. The tanks do siege up. Bit of a funnel there, units out of position, this Thor's not doing anything. And even with all this, look at this. Terran army's still coming through here, second strike cannon goes down on that. Really? Seriously, even with like bit of a chunk up, like all the units stuck in there, Thor's not doing that much damage, strike cannons coming off late, the Terran army still wins. Only lost 1 tank and it has 1 Thor left, and the Raven's still alive as well. So there you go, just showing you that mech is pretty damn good. Okay, so we've seen mech work against a standard Protoss army, okay? What about against an army that sees the mech coming, right? Protoss kind of goes something like this. It's very heavy on Immortals and Zealots. Zealots are very good against Thors. They're very good against tanks as well, especially with charge. Not so good against Bluefang Helions, but that's okay. And obviously Immortals as well. Immortals are a great unit, plus heavy. They're great, honestly. You will see this kind of unit comp if you go mech. So let's watch what happens with simple attack moves from both halves, okay? Nothing amazing. So there are Zealots getting melted by the blue flames. But then again, there are Immortals here still doing a lot of damage. The Zealots are the meat shields here, taking a lot of shots, while the expensive and much more higher DPS Immortals get in there and just rip apart all that mech. Look at this, loses 1 Immortal, and how many is this left? What has he got? It's got 6 Immortals and 1 Zealot at the end there. In fact, those Immortals were all on full health, one of them's almost lost shields. So that is pretty much a destruction here from the Protoss player. They just walk straight over that mech army. But you know what? There is something that the Terran player can do to beat this army. Doesn't hard counter it. So watch the next video and watch what happens there. So here we've got, again, the same thing, but we're going to sort the Terran army out slightly differently. Keep in mind, this Protoss army is what's supposed to counter mech, that kind of composition. Maybe slightly different, but don't worry about that. So what we've done here is we've got the Thors in the front and the Hellions behind that. Now the theory is the Zealots will charge the first unit, which is the Thors. Thors can take a bit of damage from Zealots because, you know what, they're fine. And the Hellions behind here will just flame down these Zealots really quickly. Then we can strike cannon down the Immortals. Obviously strike cannon kills an Immortal, and everything should be good. Just keep in mind though, that Protoss really can't hard counter this composition that much more. Like maybe more Immortals, but really, come on. So let's hit unpause, let's watch what happens. The charge goes in, and look at these Zealots are just disappearing. Like seriously, as soon as the blue flame splashes come out, they destroy it. Look at those strike cannons go down. Literally all but one gets, even that, yeah, look at that. Perfect, last Zealot does die there. And what's left? 5 Thors and 6 Hellions. Now I want to stress to you guys out there that the difference between those two situations was the Protoss, the Terran positioning on these units, right? The Hellions are behind the Thors. And you might be thinking, well, what if the Protoss does something like that? Well, what can the Protoss really do? Like, can they engage from a different angle? Well, not really, unless they go all the way around the map or something like that. There isn't much they can really do with those two army comps to win that fight if the Terran plays it correctly. It's in the Terran's hands to get those strike cannons down and to make sure those Hellions deal damage to those Zealots. If the Terran does that, Protoss loses, pretty much. So just keep that in mind, Terran players. But anyway, that's the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Kind of went on Banelings early on, then sort of transitioned into mech and why it's pretty damn good. Hope it made sense to you Terran players out there. If you think I've missed something, some sort of micro trick or some sort of, I don't know, build or something you want to get heard, post it in comments. I will do more videos. I'm just thinking of ideas. What do you guys want to know about is what I want to make though. Like if I do a video on what I think makes sense, you guys might be like, well, I don't care about that. I want to know how to, I don't know, build 20 Banshees or something like that. Don't write that. But still, give me ideas and I would love to do videos for you. I want to know what you want to know. I want to help you. So there we go. Hit subscribe as well. That helps me a lot. Makes me know that what I do is being watched. Definitely doing this for you guys. I make no money off this at all. It's purely just because I love StarCraft 2. So hope it helped and we'll catch you next video.